Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome to another Farming Simulator 17 map tour. Today we're looking at Tuscan lands. This is another brand new map that's just gone live. We're getting spoiled with a little flurry of maps at the moment, both going through testing and also being released. We've had quite a few popping live in quick succession, and this one is the latest. Tuscan Lands is from Team FSI Modding, the Italian mod specialist team, by Miki and Miki of the Italian team. It's a very small little map size in terms of its file size. It's only about 330 megabytes, so it's not a particularly large one. And the description in the changelog and the mod hub listing just says, "Welcome to your little Tuscan farm." It gives you no other information at all. But I have checked. It is fully seasons compatible. It does have snow masks around the main farmyard, so you won't get snow inside your barns and all that good stuff. So let's jump in and let's take a closer look at this little Italian Tuscan village. And this is where we start off, inside the main yard here. Now, I have to say, there are some things about this map that kind of bug me a little bit, and there are other things that absolutely blow me away. This is a strange map for me. There's a lot of things that I'm not all that fussed on in this map, and there's a lot of things that I absolutely adore. So it's a kind of a strange one for me. There's loads and loads of lighting around on this map, and it's all automatic. There's no light switches that I've been able to find anywhere at all, but you'll see lighting around the sides of buildings, inside buildings, street lights and all that sort of stuff, and it all seems to be automatic. I haven't seen a single light switch anywhere, but let's move on. We do have our chickens right here on the yard, as do we have all our animals here on the yard, and this is one of the things that I absolutely love about this map, is the way the animals work. So we'll make our way through and I'll show you those as we come to them. I do want to point this out here. We do have a water here on the map. Now there's one main water feature on the map itself, and it is fake water. It doesn't work. I actually drove a trailer and my tractor straight into the middle of it. You don't even get the deep warning sign. You just disappear under the surface, and that's it. It's fake water. But we do have this little fountain here and a bit of a puddle here on the side as well. So you can get some water here, and there are a couple of other troughs dotted around the map, but they are your only sources of water, and you will have to pay for them. We have quite a lot of storage space on here. You can see we've got this big open shed here, and then we've got... I love these creaking wooden doors. We've got this storage in here as well, so you can see we've got these big 3 double-doored bays just here. Again, you've got lighting inside, it's automatic, and I do love those creaking wooden doors. It's such a nice little sound effect. And then on this side, now this is something a little bit special. I actually quite like this. We've got this open area bit of storage just here, and then we have a little grate just here. And initially I thought maybe this is a potentially your barn sell point, but it's not. If you look on the side here, we've got some symbols and some writing in Italian. Ciapato, Paglia, Fieno and Erba. Ciapato is wood chips, Paglia is I think hay, Fieno straw, and then Erba is grass. Have I got that the right way around for those two? Is Fieno straw? I think it is. Yeah, one of those is hay, the other one's grass. I forget which one, the other one's straw. I forget which way round those two go. And then Erba is grass. And this is a silo for forage and chips. So you dump your wood chips or your grass or your hay or your straw in here as loose material. And then just over here, we have our silos. So again, you can see we've got those same 4 symbols there, and it'll hold those 4 items, nothing else, but just, wood chips, straw, hay and grass. And it holds 150,000 litres. So you have a built-in forage and chip silo at the main farm. And I think that is really cool. I absolutely adore that. That's such a nice little thing to have. And as we move around here, you can see we have more creaky wooden door storage. I love those creaky wooden doors. Again, it's like the one we just saw over there. We've got a nice, good-sized building in here. Big double doors, nice height as well, so you can get a real good variety of equipment in there. And if we move around to the other side, this tree just growing here in the middle of the courtyard, that's been kind of fenced off, and you can even see it's been cut a little bit at the top there. I think just maybe to control its growth, or maybe it's dying off a little bit. If we move over to here, this is the first of our animals. This is our sheep. So we have our food trough just here, we have our water trough just here, and then we do have a gate here which we can open and close, but this is not the animal delivery system. And this brings me on to my second favourite feature about this map. We're going to need to just make our way through here for a second. You can see in here we also have this kind of long building in here. Actually, no, this is the cows, not sheep. My apologies. This is the cows here. So the trough that we had there, that was the grass trough for the cows. This is obviously the main sort of TMR trough here for your power food for your cows, and then obviously your straw will go here as well. But again, this is not the delivery system. This is not where you actually load your cows in and out. That's here. We have this wonderful little sort of gate system here to unload the cows one at a time, sort of into the cow pasture, and it's a good sized cow pasture as well. I love this little delivery system, and every one of the animals has one of these, delivery systems keyed specifically for that animal. So there's one for pigs that's, sort of smaller, and narrower, and same for sheep. And then obviously for the cows, which are quite big, we've got this much bigger version just here. It's fantastic. I love that. And then, our dialogue box is right here in front of these gates. So really, really nice that. I do really like that feature. And then over here we have our manure pit, and here is our big slurry tank for our cows as well. And that will work. You can kind of hear the gate there. There we go. We've seen this popping up on quite a few maps now, this sunken pit with the movable gate. And of course we have a BGA just here as well, a little bunker for us to make some silage on the farm. And it's quite a long one as well, as you can see. It goes all the way along here, and it does have some lighting as well to make it a little bit easier to see when if you're working here at night. You've got spotlights at either end, which is again kind of cool. We've got a fuel point just here, and then we've got some of our equipment just here. So we have the FarmTech 15,000 litre trailer just here, the Great Plains Seeder. We also have this small Kuhn Varimaster plough, the Cultimer cultivator from Kuhn, and we also have the Exacta fertilizer spreader from Kverneland as well. Interestingly enough, I haven't actually found anywhere on the main farm itself where we can go off and top up our seed and our fertilizer, so that might be something you might want to drop in with placeables. And then we have a wash station on the farm as well, and this is really cool as well. We've got this nice little stone effect here, we've got our drainage grate here in the middle, and this little indentation, we have a pressure washer just here as well. Again, it's a really nice little feature. We've got some lighting on it as well. It's really nicely laid out. I love the trees kind of flanking it as well, just to give you that kind of little bit of shade, and I think that's going to pop at night really nicely. And then we have some more of our equipment over here. We have a Same Fortis. I love the Same Fortis. This is one of my favourite sort of small to medium tractors, and I'm so glad to see that this is a starting tractor on this map. And it kind of makes sense. Same is an Italian brand. Obviously they're now owned as part of the Same Deutzfahr group, but yeah, I do love these tractors, so I'm really pleased to see that's part of the starting equipment. And then we have a little New Holland T5 as well. You can see it's also got some front loader arms. Now there are some tools, and kind of oddly, they're actually not in the farm. I'll show you those in a moment. We also have a New Holland TC590 as well, with a standard grain header, and we also have a little Joskin Aquatrans trailer as well. So that's pretty much our starting equipment. I'll show you the front loader tools and some weights that we have as well. And if we move over here, this is our pigs, and here is the pig delivery system. So again, right in front of the grate system, we have our dialogue box for pigs, and look at this. This is so cool. To ferry our pigs into their little sort of sty area. This is such a nice little thing. I love these. These are so cool. And we have a manure pit just there, and we have a slurry pit just here. And these straw bales, these are not genuine straw bales. These are fake. I spent ages trying to pick them up, and I couldn't. Eventually gave up when I actually went out and bought some bale spikes and tried to spike them. And you can't spike them. They're not proper bales. They are static. They are movable. So you can nudge them and you can kind of prod them around, but you can't spike them. They're not actual straw bales. They're just solid scenery items that you just happen to be able to move. So a bit odd, but there you go. We do have a food trough just here. We have a water trough just here. I'm not 100% certain where the straw is tipped. I didn't find a definitive place. I was trying to use those 2 straw bales to actually see if I could find out where the straw place is for the pigs, and of course they're not straw bales, so that kind of killed that idea straight away. And then as we move around here, now we're getting to the sheep. So we've got a little bit more storage over here, again with the automatic lighting. Some lighting on the side of the building as well. Here is our sheep. So again, if we want to get into the field, we do have an openable gate, but that's not where you actually pick up your sheep from. You can see here we've got a nice open area here, and it actually shows you, this is where your wool will spawn. There's no checkbox here, but we do have the nice helpful wool symbol on a little bit of signposting just there. We have our food trough just there. Our water trough is just here. And then again, one of these awesome little delivery systems for our animals. So again, you can see this is where our dialogue box is for our sheep. And then they're fed through the grating system, and then able to be launched into their little sheep pen over here. I do like these, I really do. It's just it's different. We very rarely see something like this on a map, and especially something that looks this good on a map like this as well. Sometimes we see some just kind of rickety fencing or grating, but I really like the look of these. They look really, really good. And as we made our way over here, you can see there's another way out of the farm just there. There's two main ways in and out. This is our silo over here. Now the silo feels a little bit wonky and a little bit weird for me, but it is a silo. Has 100,000 litres of storage, will hold all of our default grains and sugarcane. So this map has been coded for sugarcane, but of course if you're playing with seasons, then there's, I think, still possibly the only geo that actually lets you plant sugarcane is the Paraguay geo. Maybe 1 or 2 have come out since then that allow sugarcane, but I'm not too sure. We've got this kind of big open section just here, so if you wanted to park a truck in here perhaps, I think this is the actual silo grating itself. We have this pipe system, and the reason I say it feels a bit wonky is, the pipe looks a bit iffy, and then when you actually unload, the unload starts about here, about halfway down, so you just get this big gap between the pipe, and then the grain just suddenly starts appearing from about here, and then drops into your trailer. But we do have the tip grate just here, so this is where you store your grain, that's where you retrieve it from, that thin, spindly little pipe just there. And so, like I say, this is the weird sort of dual nature of this map. Some of it looks incredible. Some of it looks a little bit hokey. I can't quite figure out how I truly feel about this map. There are some things about it that I absolutely love, and some things that are a bit of a turn off for me. It's such a strange one, but there's some really nice features in here. Big open space as well. So if you wanted to stick more storage in, you have plenty of room to do so. Let's take a look at the actual map as well. We have 4 fields that we start with. Field 2 here, which is this kind of weird shaped field which goes around the back of the pigs, and then we've got this little area just here. So it's quite a small field. It would be ideal, I think, for root crops, especially if you're going to do pigs, you're going to need root crops. You've got this field here, field 24, which is actually a grass field, and then you have field 1 and field 4, and as you can see, they all start cultivated, although weirdly, it does look like there is actually grass on field 24. You'll see it when we get there. So we're going to have a little pookle round in the Fortis. We're going to drive out just over here, out the sort of main entrance just for a second, because I want to show you where those front loader tools are. And again, it's a bit of a weird placement. I think it might just be a coding error, but your front loader tools are just here, just outside the main farm wall. So we've got 2 weights here, as you can see, and then we have a front loader bucket, and then we have a set of pallet forks just here as well. I'm not entirely sure why they're spawned there. Like I said, I think it's just a bug, and that they should actually be the other side of the wall, but for whatever reason, the placement of those is a little bit off, and they're actually outside of the yard. So in terms of the route, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going out the opposite side of the farm. So we're going to head out by the sheep, and we're going to sort of cut across to where field 4 is. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the side of field 1, so you might just see field 24 as we go past it, and then we'll go up and we'll do a little bit of cross country where we need to, and we'll check out the sugar factory. Then we'll head up to the wall, the BGA bunker, wood chips, the straw, and work our way round in a loop. And this is where, again, you're going to see some strangeness about this map. So this is field 1. This is one of the fields that we own, and this is a pretty big field. When you consider the size of the equipment that we're working with as well, it's going to take a lot of work to actually get that field done in terms of seeding, harvesting. I mean, obviously you can buy some bigger equipment, but just with the starting equipment, if you just ignore the plough and just look at 3-meter working widths or just the combine itself, that's a big field to have. So you've got some really good sized land, and field 4 is a similar size. And then over here, this is field 24, and according to the mini-map, this is cultivated. But you get here and there's actually grass already on the field, and you can see the field texture underneath there. It's a strange one. I'm not sure whether this is supposed to have grass on it and doesn't, or it does have grass but it doesn't have grass. I don't really know what's going on here. It's very, very strange. You know, as soon as you get out your draw window, it's a barren field, and as soon as you get inside your draw window, it's grass everywhere. It's very odd. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But what we're going to do now is we're going to just head down to the main road. There is a kind of a ring road that runs around the outside of this farm. This is it just here. And we're going to whiz our way along here, following it round. And we're going to make our way over to the sugar factory. That's not the sugar factory just there, surprisingly, that's throwing out all that smoke. And this is where the map starts to let itself down a little bit in my eyes, because it just feels quite empty in a lot of places as we start our sort of tour. But it's weird because this part of the map, it feels a little, as I say, a little bit empty as we sort of move around from location to location, and then we get to the second half of the map and all of a sudden it just seems to spring to life. It's a very strange one for me, and there's trees everywhere, as you can see, loads and loads of these trees, kind of hidden away. And I'm just going to pull over here for a second because I love all these wildflowers and weeds that we have on the sides of roads. Looks like we've got some poppies there. There's some thistles in here. And some other flowers that I don't recognise. Or do recognise but don't know the names of. But you've got all these, fir trees everywhere, and you would think this would be a great map for logging, just in terms of the trees that run all the way around the edge of the map. And yeah, I suppose it is, but there is a giant logging area hidden away to a degree on this map as well, and we'll have a look at that. So it goes from being a map that, say, doesn't seem to offer that much in terms of visuals, to all of a sudden offering a wealth of hidden little gems. It's a very strange map to kind of know exactly how I feel about it, because parts of it just feel very bland and very dull, and parts of it feel absolutely incredible. So as we get here to our Zuccherificio, this is our sugar factory, and we have this huge open area in here, and this is where I say it feels, this is the dual nature of this map. We've got an incredible design of a little sell point just here, and then the rest of it just feels very meh. I mean, it's just a huge, big, square, open space. Nice building, no other detail at all, and then we have this cracking little cell box. I mean, how cool is this as a cell box here? Where you drive in, and then we've got this kind of big beat storage area kind of just here at the back here for all the beats to be loaded into. I really like this cell box. It's so cool, and yet everything else in here, a really nice actual factory that is actually smoking. There's another one that smokes as well. You know, everything else in here is just so bland and dull. There's no markings on the pavement. There's no secondary buildings. It's just a huge open area, a building plonked in here, and a sell point. And this is the dual nature of this map. As I say, it's like this all the way through. Some really, really nice features and some really bland features, both at the same time. It's a strange one. I mean, it is a very small map size, so you start throwing in loads of extra detail, it's going to push the file size up, it's going to start potentially giving you frame rate issues. So, you know, you've got to look at it that way as well. But like I said, there are moments when this map just bores you a little bit with just the way it looks and the way it's laid out, and there are other times when I think it just looks fantastic. So, it's a really strange one for me, this one. Very strange indeed. So we're heading around, as you can see, making our way up to the wool factory. So you can see there is the wool factory steaming away and smoking in the background. That's actually something that's really nice to see as well, is the animated smoke on these factories. I don't think we've actually seen that on consoles before. I have seen factories like that smoking on PC maps that then haven't smoked on a console when they've made their way over. I don't know if there's another example of that currently on console where they do, the chimney stacks do smoke like that. I'm not too sure, but here's our wool factory. This is actually, again, it's quite a big factory here. There's a little bit more life to this one. You can see we've got, you know, a really big sort of factory building on one side. We've got our cell box here in the middle. Just drove into a lamppost there. There's our cell point there with a load of wool pallets just to help reinforce the idea that it's a wool cell point. And then another factory on the end there as well. Got some cars parked up. This one actually feels a bit more lifelike, because it's not so much big open space, I think, within the cell point. Because there's that double factory, it actually feels a bit more, complete, if that's the right term for it. And then again, we've got this these lovely sort of wildflowers and weeds and little bits of bushes that pop up around the edge of the map and the borders of the roads. Areas like this that just add a little bit of life and colour to the map. It's really nice to see things like that. I think it needs some of that. And we've got a little forestry area over here. You can see if we were to pull off into there, I'm not going to do it this time, but if you were to pull off into there, you've got a little forestry area where you can go in and have a look around and work on some different elevations. And we head over to the BGA, the Biomass Plant, and I swear I recognise these characters here on this graffiti, but I don't know where from. I don't know where I recognise those characters from, and it's been driving me nuts trying to figure out where I recognise those characters from. But as we drive into the BGA, it's your pretty standard, standard fare in here, pretty bog standard. You've got the bunker silos just there. We've got our Silo King storage, or Silo King shredder just there. We've got a big open space at the back just here. Just this huge open empty space. And then as we drive around here, there's the digestate tank just over there as well. And again, it just feels a little bit bland because it's pretty generic, but we've also got this huge space. But I was thinking about it. We've seen in the past, we'll get these BGAs and they'll have plenty of space, but we're not actually able to put anything down in there. So I did a little test, and what you can do is you do actually have the permissions to put in vehicle storage or something like that. So you could drop in a big storage shed just there like that, and all of a sudden, it's using up some of that space. It makes it look a little bit more realistic, I think. More life to the BGA. It gives you storage for vehicles. You can put whatever you want in there, if depending on how much money you've got. you could maybe put some seed and fertilizer refill points in there. You know, you've got all sorts of things you could do. You are actually able to use the space in here. So what does seem like almost like an unfinished BGA is actually, in some respects, is quite good, because it allows you to kind of customize the BGA a little bit to your liking. So it's got, like I said, it's kind of 50-50 on that one. Swings and roundabouts. Some bits are really good, some bits are a bit not sure why it does that. There's a little side access to a little town over there. We're going to check that out later. That was that little dirt path that we went past. We're going to continue our tour around the edge here. Next stop up is the wood chips location. Now there are actually kind of two wood plants here. One is purely for wood chips, and the other one is for logs. And this is the wood chip sell point. As we drive around here, we start to get into the better part of the map, I think, in some of the details. We've got these automated barriers here. We've got a nice big sort of storage area. You can see the wood chips all piled up in here. I actually quite like this as a scenic store point. You've got obviously space around the back for the next load. A few weeds just kind of growing through the dirt a little bit there, a few rocks. And then this is our sell grate just here. So obviously you back up, you tip your wood chips into there, bish bash bosh, done. Problem, no problem at all whatsoever. Very simple, straightforward little sell point that is purely just for wood chips. It's not very often we see a wood chip only sell point like this that's so big. Normally they're very small little biomass heating plant locations with a very small tip box that you have to kind of, you know, angle your trailer to get into. And then if we pop down here, we have our animal dealership and our barn. So there's another water trough just there, as you can see. Another water point for us. We have our barn sell point just here for our grass, straw, hay, and what have you, just there. And then this is the animal dealership. So you kind of drive around, you've got this old sort of stone building just here, and then this is the checkbox just here. So we have some static cows in this field here with a few mooey sound effects. And then this is your dialogue box. So this is where you can retrieve your cows, your sheep, or your pigs. And I don't know, I just feel a little disappointed, a little underwhelmed with this dealership. I think we're so used to seeing those huge, great big dealership buildings that, you know, essentially this dealership is, you know, a covered stand. Although we do have that stone building in the back. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, the dealership. It just doesn't feel that detailed to me. It's an oddity. We do have a little village, just a few houses sort of dotted around in places in the hills, and just here you can see we've got a small little cottage. I'm going to drive over actually so you can get a closer look. We've got this little sort of side house just over here with a very small field which isn't actually a proper field, and it's got these static placed round bales lying flat on that. It's quite nice to see that, and I think they've used the manure texture to try and give an indication of perhaps having chopped straw or straw residue on the field. It's kind of strange, but I like that. That's a nice little scenic addition. And as I say, throughout this sort of this side of the map, there are little villages, you know, in the hills from time to time. So there was one back by the sawmill, not the sawmill, sorry, the wood chips as well. And just here we have this little placeable area, and I say little, it's actually quite a big placeable area, this big kind of concrete runoff area. It looks pretty flat for the most part. It does kind of go up and down a little bit, but I can't see what you would actually want to put in here. Personally, off the top of my head, I couldn't think what I would put here unless I wanted to maybe build a second farm. You know, obviously we do have placeable silos now, and we have farmhouse buildings and obviously storage buildings and all that good stuff. So you could maybe build a second farm in this location if you wanted to. That could potentially work as a second farm location. You've got dirt road access just here to the main road. That could work. You could maybe use one of the placeable sell points and create an extra sell point just there. There aren't that many sell points themselves on the map, so that would be a good potential location there. I'm going the wrong way, I need to go this way. And then we come up to our first shop location, and initially I thought this was the actual shop, but this is just, as you can see, a seed and fertilizer sell point here. So this is where you can buy your seeds and fertilizers and so on and so forth. So we have a liquid fertilizer point just here. Then as we move around here, this is our seed point just here. And then we have our solid fertilizer point just there. And that's it. That is this entire sell point. It's, again, I was a little underwhelmed at first until I realized it was just a sell point for seed and fertilizer. But again, I think a nice shop building in here would have been nice, or maybe a little bit of detail. Maybe put a greenhouse or something in here just to flesh it out, because it just does feel very big and open with nothing really in it. So I think that's the problem with some of these areas, that they are so big, is that, you know, there are a couple of things in there, but they don't fill the space enough to make it feel alive. Right, so now we're over to the sell point for the wood chips, and this is where things, sorry, for logs, and this is where things suddenly start to come alive on this map. So we've got this really big sawmill area. Now you may actually recognise, if you played Lone Oak recently, you may recognise this building. This is the same sawmill building that is used for Ian and Sons Lumber as the logging point on Lone Oak Farm, complete with the conveyor belt system over here, although there are no markings on this one, as you can see, and as always it's completely static, whereas on the PC version on Lone Oak it moved. But we've got a nice cell box just here. This only takes logs. There is no wood chip cell point just here. Yeah, we do have a separate wood chip cell point all the way over on the other side of the top of the map. And then if we just go a little bit further north, we have another big placeable area just here. And again, I think this would be a great location for a second cell point, because it's not too big. You could maybe put, you know, a couple of barns or something in here, a couple of, you know, vehicle storage areas, or some kind of buildings, and then plonk in a couple of cell points here, or maybe put in two different cell points. Maybe put in the root crop cell point mod and the manure cell point mod, or the mill as a second grain cell point just there as well. You know, there's a few different options that you could place here. And then if we go here, we're going into the forestry area, and I did say there was kind of a hidden forestry area. It's not really marked, you can't really tell looking at the mini-map, but all of a sudden it's like we've gone into one of FDR's logging maps. We've got this logging trail that just works its way up across multiple sort of heights. We've got trees that we can cut down all the way up here, and then when we get up to the top, we've got this massive area for us to actually start chopping down trees in. You know, it's huge, absolutely massive. We've got a secondary access point here, so you can just about make out there is a dirt road on the mini-map. It's really hard to see, but that takes us back down that way over there, and kind of brings us out towards that kind of junction over there, which you can just see in the distance. But we're going to carry on going up. As you can see, still a bit of height left to go up. And all of this is just a giant logging area. So if you really do like your logging, this gives you almost a logging map and a farm all in one. It's, you know, look, it's just this huge area. Look at all these trees that we've gone past on the way up, and we're still climbing. There's still more to go. It is, you know, just this completely unexpected sort of bonus addition to this map is this huge, great big forestry area. And now we're kind of at the top here, and look at all these trees and these sort of roads that we can kind of navigate through. I've got this massive logging area all the way up here that kind of just goes all the way across to the border of the map. Absolutely huge little area. And of course you've got all those trees on the way up, and this is on top of all the trees like this that go around the edge of the entire map. So if you like your logging, you're not going to run short of wood. You know, there's so much of it that you know, you'll be able to chop down trees to your heart's content without even needing to consider replanting. So let's start making our way back down again, and you can see again just, you know, the way it snakes its way up. You do get some really nice views if you look. And how's this? If I can get out of the way, let's just jump up on here on these rocks. How's this for a view looking out over the map like that? And then you can see there's another forest there in the middle of the map. You know, it gives you an idea of some of these fields. And also just how high up we've actually come, even though we're going quite shallow. It gives you an idea of just how much higher up over the rest of the map we are. Completely unexpected. Had no idea that there was going to be this giant sort of logging area on this, you know, off to the side on this map. So, as I say, for those of you that like to do some logging, this map may well be a great map for you, because you'll have a combination of a fully working farm with sell points, animals, all that good stuff, and then essentially a fully functioning logging map, you know, tacked onto the side of it as well. It's almost like two completely different, you know, maps have been pushed together to create this weird little hybrid. I like these little dirt tracks at the start of it as well. Right, there we go. So that's the logging area. As I say, there is a secondary exit, but I want to come this way because what I want to do is take this turn off just here. That's coming up. So there's our lumber mill just there for selling you wood. The other access point, which we saw over there, comes down. Actually, it comes down just there. Look, that's where it comes out. But this is where I want to go. I want this road just here. And this is another wonderful little feature about this map that we're about to come up to. So as we're driving along here, you can see we've got this secondary forestry area here in the middle of the map. We're going to take this turn here and make our way over to our village. Now there is an egg sell point in here, but it's also, it feels really almost authentic inside this little little Tuscan village up here. We make our way up, and all of a sudden we've got really tight streets, lots of buildings really crammed together, and this is genuinely how tight things are in these little Italian villages. You know, everything's really squashed like this. You know, and anything big is, you know, trying to move around in these areas is always going to struggle. And we just make our way through here and up this track. All of a sudden we open up into this big square area just up here, and I love this. You know, this big open square here. We've got our kind of our church slash town hall in the middle. Some buildings around the side, just kind of mowing over pedestrians left, right and centre here. But still, really twisty little narrow bits in places. It feels genuinely authentic. As you know, I've been to Italy, I've seen villages like this, I've seen locations like this. You know, it does feel, you know, a little authentic in that respect. And then we have our egg sell points just here at the top of the hill. So we have just tucked away and this wonderful little access point. And then, if you remember, I did point out there was that pathway a little earlier in the video. There's the exit point, so you kind of go down there, and then there's that path which goes out towards the BGA and comes out sort of just before the BGA, just over there. So you've got a second kind of dirt road access there, but I prefer to come up this way, and you go up through the little twisty, tight lower level section first. It's just, I think it's a much nicer experience. So let's just nip back into first person around here, because it is quite tricky. And again, I've just deliberately come down here just to show you just how tight things get. And again, this is kind of realistic. You know, you'll go somewhere and you think you've got a way through, and then your way out just disappears. Now, this is very indicative of Italian sort of small towns and villages. And a little parking area there as well. So, back onto the main road. We're going to swing around the other side of our forestry area here, and here comes the next big surprise of this map. As I say, from this, from the sort of sawmill onwards, this map really suddenly springs to life and just brings all these wonderful details. And we have this huge kind of incline here as we go up this hill, and it turns out we're actually going over a massive road bridge. Look at this thing. This is fantastic. And there's the sort of main road underneath, and we're on this flyover just here. This is such a cool little feature, having this flyover road here. And as we drive our way down here, we're heading towards the eggs. And you can see the cooperative is over in the distance. We have our store just up here with a New Holland dealership sign on the outside. The FSI modding flags are flying as well with a few other brands. And if we just jump out and pop the gate. As we pop in here, you can see we've got a little workshop bay, and we have a Fendt 600 Vario, a really old 614 with a wheel off, being given some service work. You can see it's up on a jack. This is cool. I like this. This is so cool to see this being actually worked on in here with big oil stains everywhere. It's obviously in need of a major service. But this is really, really good to see. Just a workshop being used like this. I do like that. And then as we just make our way around the corner, pop into the showroom section, which is all very jazzy and there's big glass front here. We pop in. We've got a sell point just here, or a shop point just here, and then some magazines for people to read. Vroom, tractors go fast. And then a nice little side section just there. It's actually a really nice little store. I like this. The equipment itself spawns, I think where our tractor is right now, it spawns along this section just here. I don't really have any money left to actually test that, but yeah, this is where our equipment is spawned. If you want to reset it, the reset point is back at the main farm, so we'll activate that in a moment just to show you that. And we're going to kind of head back out and follow the road around this way again. We're heading now for another little bridge as we climb up again. We're going over another road just there. Got traffic on that one, as you can see, going underneath us. And it has this little loop around. And here's that water feature that I was telling you about. This is not genuine water, so you can't use this as a free water source. It's not even actual water. You can drive all the way to the bottom of that and drive back out again. Which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. And just here we have a little roadside cafe just here, Agriturismo Italia, and we've got a few people wandering around. We've got a nice little cafe setting here with some chairs and tables, very low. It's almost like, it's almost, look at the size. It's slightly too small. They're like shin high tables, but it's a nice little scenic kind of feature. And then we've got another egg sell point just here, so you have a couple of points if you want to sell your eggs. And then if we carry on following the road, this is where it rejoins the main road, so you can see we're kind of looping back down, and there's the bridge that we've just gone over just there. So from here I'm actually going to head back up here again just so we can check out the cooperative, because this is the final sell point on the map. There aren't that many, so as I say, we do have those placeable areas. There's nothing to stop you from sticking in the mill placeable to give you an extra grain sell point. We also have obviously a manure sell point. We have the sugar and root crops sell point. So there's different places that you can actually, different mods that you can drop in to increase the places that you can actually sell stuff in if you want to. And as we make our way over to the cooperative, this is where it starts to feel a little underwhelming again, because we just have this big building just kind of plonked on this big slab of concrete, and that's pretty much it. Not a lot of detail. We do have this nice little cell box just here, a couple of silos placed, and then a nice little tip grate for us to drop our grains into. But again, I mean, there's no wall around the side, there's no kind of marking or fencing. It's just a concrete slab and then something plonked in the middle of it. This is this is what frustrates me a little bit about this map. There are some things that this map does so well, and some features that are absolutely fantastic, and then some that just feel a little half-assed. It's such a shame, you know, because it just detracts from what is a genuinely enjoyable experience on this map. And as I say, it is fully seasons ready. I did check it with the new Minnesota Geo, which pumped a load of snow around when I first loaded it up, and I did check the buildings. There were snow masks applied all the way around the farm, so you don't have to worry about bales rotting or things like that. Someone going by on a crotch rocket outside my window there. Sorry if you heard that. And another thing I noticed about this map is there's just so much grass everywhere that you'll never ever really need to have or own a grass field. There is so much free grass space everywhere. I mean, if we're driving along here, you can see, look at the size of this grass area here. I'm going to actually cut across here. This is running along the side of field 10. Look at the size of this grassland over here. I mean, yeah, you can't work it like this in terms of fertilizing it, but I mean, you've got this huge amount of free grass. Now, if you leave it like this and you're playing seasons, you'll get 2 cuts. You know, there'll be basic, you know, basic level cuts, so you won't be able to fertilize. There's no plow bonus or anything like that, so it's basic native grass, but you'll get 2 cuts. Now, if you turn it into a field and then plant it as grass, you'll be able to do that, but in the first year you'll only get a single cut, and then from year 2 onwards you'll get multiple cuts. But there's so many areas like that. I mean, again, just literally the other side of this little side road, this massive open area here of just grass. You'll never ever need to buy a grass field because there is just so much of it dotted around on this land. So Wildfield 24 is currently kind of listed both as a grass field and as a cultivated field, which, as we saw, looks and feels a little bit strange. Turn it into a crop field. There's no reason why you would need that to be a grass field, because there is so much free grass on this map that you just have absolutely no need, you know, for a dedicated grass field. You really don't. So, right, well, there we are. That is the new Tuscan lands map from FSI modding. You've seen my thoughts about it. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. I like to hear your feedback. What features do you like? What features don't you like? Please do let me know, and I will respond to you. Thanks for watching. You can hit me up on Facebook at facebook.com/JimBobPlaysGames. You can also find me on Twitter at JBPG_JimBob. And I will be back with another video very soon.